Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since my last update. There's some good reasons behind that. The best part of it is that my first website has been a little bit of a distraction. The site is very close to approaching 50,000 sessions in the last 30 days, which means I can apply to Mediavine quite soon. I will put out an update video on that website because there's some exciting developments with traffic doubling almost in the last 30 days. So I'm really excited there, but that site's only just been more of a motivator for my current project, which is publishing 1,000 articles on my second authority website, which will be today's update. And I do have some exciting things to share about it with some great growth graphs, as well as some significant improvements in SERP Robot. So let's jump right into it. Publishing 1,000 articles. I'm at 750 at the time of this video. To give some background information for those who haven't been following along on the journey so far, this is my second site. It's a very competitive niche. However, I still am targeting lower competition keywords. Going to slowly work my way up to more medium and high competition keywords as the website ages and gains authority. But the goal is to publish 1,000 articles as fast as I possibly can by August of 2021 with informational articles. I'm going to add Amazon affiliates and those type of commission related offers to the site. It will be an opportunity to make more money on top of just ad revenue, which will be the primary monetization option for the site. So that's something I'm going to eventually add. And the goal is to monetize with Mediavine at 50,000 sessions. So let's jump right into some of the charts and graphs. So word count, I am at over 769,000 words. The average articles remained rather consistent at 1,026 words. I think a few things to note here is it's remained kind of consistent around that 1,000-word mark. Majority of my articles are 1,000 words. These are informational response posts that's providing a quick, brief, and well laid out answer to the reader that's looking to have their question answered when they type it into Google. But there is going to be some more longer forms pieces of content that I'm going to be publishing in the next couple weeks. I have made some good progress with those pieces of content the last couple weeks, and that's added to the word count on an average basis for the articles, but that's going to continue to slowly climb. I don't think it's going to do any crazy jumps. It is only going to be between 2,000 to 3,000 words, so that's not going to have a crazy impact on the average per article, especially when I already have 750 articles published. Indexing articles on Google Search Console, very consistent to what I've been seeing in the past. Articles slowly continuing to index as they're published, and impressions are rapidly climbing, and we will see a better chart for that on my Google Search Console chart later in this video. SERP Robot is my favorite thing to check on a daily basis. I think I actually like it more than Google Analytics, crazy to believe, but these charts are great to show the progress that the site has made in the past couple weeks. Just to set the scene, these are the two charts from February and March, which show how many articles were indexed in the top 100, ranking for primary keywords. What I normally do with SerpRobot is once I publish an article, I take the main keyword that I'm trying to rank for that article and I put it into SerpRobot. So it's almost like a great way to track each article as they get indexed and as they climb in the SERPs for that primary phrase that you wrote the article for. So essentially when it says I have, 70 results or 108 results on the right side, that just means all my articles have been added into SerpRobot at that time for their primary keyword. So take a quick look at those numbers here for February and March. Now let's look at the huge growth that I saw from the middle of April to now. The big thing you're going to see is looking on the left side, average position has moved from 111 to 89, which is just insane growth. And so many more articles are now ranking in the top 3, top 10, top 30, and even over 100 articles have been indexed versus the last time I gave an update on this video, which is still probably the most important thing at this point in time. Articles ranking in the top 3 right off the bat is fast, but at the end of the day, I need that article indexed so it can eventually start that process of climbing. So knowing that article's indexed for its primary phrase is telling me that Google's understanding that article, thinking it's a good quality piece of content, and it's starting to rank. So, huge growth here. I continue to check my SerpRobot tracker on like a daily basis. It's pretty bad. It's funny, I'll go 12 to 24 hours without checking it every once in a while. And when I see like crazy improvements, it's the best feeling. So strongly recommend SerpRobot if you're building a large website or even a small website and you just want to track your keywords. It's a very reasonable way to track your keywords with the low annual cost. Continuing on to the next slide. So I normally show keywords that are ranking in the top three. Since I have so many articles now in the top three, I figured it was better to show what articles I actually am ranking number one for and the keyword volume associated with them. So, still a lot of lower competition, lower volume keywords. I did start ranking for a medium competition, medium volume keyword, where you see that 721,000 in there. So things are starting to slowly rise as more content gets indexed, as backlinks start to come into effect, and authority climbs to this website. Things are only going to look better on this part of the SerpRobot tracker. I think it's important to not only just send backlinks to website, but kind of monitor the impact it has. Are these guest posts that I'm, outsourcing and trying to forward to my articles actually going to help? So the key thing here is the keyword volume on this keyword is, over 12,000. This is a very high volume keyword. I would kind of classify it more as still medium competition because I think I actually have a shot to rank top 3 for this based on the competition that's out there. I did send some high quality links there. And what we've seen so far is I've jumped from 21 to 15 versus my last update in April. Nothing crazy, not a huge update, but these links are still going to have an impact, and it's going to take several weeks to months for that to go into effect, or at least I think it will. And I hopefully tracking that keyword and tracking this journey will kind of show the progress of, what's a backlink going to do for an article like this. Second example, very similar type of situation, just lower volume, a little bit less competition here, hence why the article is already a little bit higher, where it was starting at number 12 back in April. That article's moved up slowly. It's up to number 10. Nothing crazy to talk about, but I mean, another thing too is this article is only 5 months old, so this article is going to need time to age, have the backlinks really impact its growth, have time be on its side. These articles are well interlinked around my site, so there is, juice pointing to it elsewhere. But, I'm going to continue to follow these two. It's almost going to be like a case study for, what type of impact do these links have on, medium competition keywords. The best chart, besides SerpRobot, is the organic search traffic on Google Analytics. It did achieve close to 500 organic users a day, significant growth versus my last update. I mean, you could see from April at this point right here. This is kind of where my last update was. I was just under 200 visitors a day, was still encouraged, excited, trajectory was up, but now things are really starting to move quickly. And it's funny, when I look at the analytics, it's really like maybe 15 or so articles that are really contributing to these 500 organic users out of all the articles on my site. So there is a long runway of growth here, hopefully. And I think just with 6 months in, achieving 500 organic users a day is a great sign. If I was to put a guess on it, I think I could have a decent shot of being on Mediavine, 6 to 7 months from now. I don't want to jinx anything, still a lot can go wrong, a lot still needs to happen. But just from this initial growth and the amount of content that I have on the site, I don't see why the site can't get anywhere close to, 1 to 2,000 visitors a day 6 months from now. So I'm going to remain optimistic, remain encouraged. This is definitely such a positive sign when you're building a site like this. You want to see these positive indicators that make you want to continue to grow it. So I was really happy with the progress I'm seeing on Google Analytics. And Google Search Console is going to tell a real similar story. Obviously, it's not including the other search engines in this diagram, but you're seeing the impact that impressions and clicks have on each other. More impressions is going to eventually lead to more clicks as articles get indexed, as those new pieces of content climb. Impressions are growing on the site. So this has just been such a steady chart, which I never saw anything like this on my first site. It was definitely a lot more slower. There was a lot more flat lines. This almost seems like an exponential chart at this point, but it should continue to rise. We're just at the 6 month mark. This is really going to start to rip upwards, in my opinion, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It's a great tool, Google Search Console, for seeing what articles are working. I'm starting to almost see, okay, if that article is getting some impressions and starting to climb in the SERPs based on my SERP Robot tracker, maybe I should start building out that topic cluster and finding other related terms that are a similar question or a similar query, and just start outsourcing all those topics to my writer because I'm starting to see that Google likes it and maybe there's a lack of information of it out there, even though there's a decent amount of search queries. Backlinks growth. So I've definitely spent a lot of efforts here in terms of building my online presence. From time and time again, you're always going to see that websites need to have an online presence in the form of backlinks, social media profiles. So I have all completely 100%, natural social media profiles that I've built. I'm uploading pieces of content on my own, trying to make those look as natural as possible. But I also am spending money to outsource links to the website. And I've mentioned this in the past. The primary thing now is I'm just working on guest posts for the most part. Um, I did a lot of niche edits maybe 2 months ago, but now everything's just pretty much been guest posts. I usually do anywhere from 5 to 10 guest posts per month. I don't try to make an exact science. I don't think you need to have a structured amount of links per month, but just the continued outreach and continued growth of my presence of having my URL around the internet is going to help things. And I think this is one of those type of um, efforts in my site that I don't think it's really going to pay much dividends now or even in the next 3 to 5 months. I think this is something 6 months from now and beyond. I'm going to be like, wow, that was the impact of building those links and growing my online presence. That's the type of power that initiative is going to have for me. So links is a long-term game. Doing SEO is going to take time. I don't want to rush it. I'm not trying to do anything that's going to have Google raise its eyebrows and think that something's a little sketchy with it. So I'm encouraged by the climate metrics from Ahrefs. Usually the organic keywords and organic traffic doesn't really mean anything, but just the fact it's going up is always a positive sign of maybe you're doing something right with your site. At this point, continuing to build those epic pieces of content. I'm 75% of the way towards the 1,000 articles. And as you can see, I've certainly slowed down the publishing rate in just the last couple weeks, but I'm going to continue to ramp that back up. And I want to still hit 1,000 articles by the end of August. That's going to come out to publishing about 3 articles per day. If I happen to not hit that goal, I'm going to be pretty close to it. And the only reason I don't think I would achieve that mark is if I just decide to spend more time and effort on building higher quality pieces of content that just have more diagrams, tables, charts, pictures, even videos. I don't think that's a bad thing to consider at this point, especially because I already have so much content out there that's baking in the algorithm and really taking the time to start ranking. So I think it's still accomplishing my goal of what I want to do with this site. This site's been good. It's been going, I think, I'd say above average for my expectations for what growth I want to see at this point with this much content. I think what it's showing is regardless of how many articles you have on your site, you can't rush the growth in the short term. Even if you have thousands of articles, it's just going to take months and it's going to take that period of time for those articles to get indexed and start ranking. Obviously hitting the level that you want in terms of income and growth when you're at that point in time, when your articles are indexed, is going to be a lot quicker when you have a lot of pieces of content. But still, the initial stages, it's very difficult to expedite that much more than what the current time frame is now for articles indexing. And I've understood that very well from this project. My first authority website, if I can get that site on Mediavine and that starts making, a significant amount of money on a monthly basis just from those ads, that's going to allow me to invest more back into either this site or that first site. And then I'll kind of have 2 really strong pieces of, property in these authority sites where I can continue to grow them and eventually discuss, which one's worth putting more of my time and effort into growing. So thanks for following along on this journey. I'm going to put out some more videos in the next couple of weeks that you won't want to miss. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe, and thanks for following along.